Home recycling ideas. It's Thursday, July 2nd, 2015, and my name is Inta Mitterbach. And this is a production of Environmental Studio Productions, a fictional company, in Lakewood, Ohio, USA. I was recently thinking about recycling and the economy, and with some of the situations and job loss and circumstances of poverty going on and people having difficulties, trying to come up with ideas that might help with the economy and also with ecology and the environment, and recycling products that can be reused in the home and office. Dryer lint, I was a Girl Scout leader, and dryer lint can be used probably for sit-upons. I had not thought about that previously. We could have all saved the adults, the parents could have all saved their dryer lint and used that for the sit-upons and pillows that the kids make. And also egg cartons with lint for seedlings. I saw that used online and hadn't thought of that, but the dryer lint can be used for planting seedlings, starting seedlings, and for your garden. And the other thing you can do with potentially, maybe with lint and egg cartons, is make insulation blocks. And if you have the need for that, with the aquariums and fish and pets and things, sometimes you need insulated areas. And so it may be that you can use egg cartons and dryer lint to make insulation blocks to insulate areas. Also, styrofoam trays from food products and other products, not just food, can be used for mailing and packaging if you haven't recycled those. I was awful at just throwing everything away and buying new stuff all the time, and I'm not able to do that now, but even in the past when I was able, it would have made more sense to try to recycle some of the things that we had, like styrofoam food trays that can be used for mailing and packaging materials. Also, toilet paper rolls can be used for packaging and shipping filler materials. If you have lightweight items that you need to ship, you could fill. If you save the toilet paper rolls, you can fill the box with toilet paper rolls like popcorn, and ship your products using that. And that might be enough packaging material to protect whatever it is you're trying to ship. Also, jars for dry storage, medicine cabinet, Band-Aids, Q-tips, cotton balls, and also hotel room soaps for a gift idea that you could, the jars, food product jars, a lot of them are both plastic and glass, and the one that I like the best is the peanut butter jars, because those come in handy for everything, using for cotton balls and all of the toiletry items. And also rainbow catchers. I recently used jars and bottles filled with water and food coloring to put the food color water jars on windowsills, and the sunlight casts colors on the walls, and I think it's nice for kids' rooms, and it's also, depending on how it's done, it can be very nice for adult living environments, and I've also decorated them with ribbons and charms and things, so that it's sort of like sun catcher, sort of like the dream catchers idea, but sun catchers with the colored waters in them, and food coloring waters. And the junk mail addresses can be clipped for reuse, the mailing label alternatives. If you hadn't thought of doing that, you can always buy your own mailing labels or a mailing label maker. So you can, if you hadn't thought about it, clip the mailing addresses. And sometimes, too, as busy as people are and everything going on crazy in life, sometimes you need no-brainer type activities to just sit and it's constructive, it's productive, and it's beneficial to the environment to recycle things. So it is something that you can do that kind of, it doesn't require I mean, it requires time and some effort, and most people don't have any time or any extra resources to spend on doing a lot of this stuff. It's easier to go out and buy all this stuff. But if you do have the time, for example, in offices, maybe the secretaries or receptionists, if they are not always busy, if they're working and they have some free time, that they might clip mailing addresses out of junk mail, or even the junk mail into a lot of it can be turned into to scrap paper for reuse. And also some of the food boxes, cereal boxes, and other types of food boxes can be used for the cardboard. And you can make, if you have a retail store, retail products that you're trying to make labels or tags for, a lot of the food boxes can be reused, and you can make just a lot of the cardboards and papers you can reuse that I just really didn't think of doing before. I recently cut out some cardboard shapes and put magnet backings on them and made my own refrigerator magnets, and I hadn't thought of doing that before. And also the cardboards can be cut out in shapes and used for painted and used for decorating boxes. A lot of times, the nice decorated boxes at the stores, they can be very expensive, and you could actually start a business making those decorative boxes using a lot of the products that you would normally throw away and that are recyclable. The plastic containers, like the lunch meat containers and things like sour cream or cottage cheese containers, those can be used for scratch notes and labels and tags as containers for those. So you can potentially maybe cut up all the scratch paper and make containers full of scratch paper and pass those out to employees to use, sort of like the scratch paper they have at the library. And if you save boxes and containers to reuse for that. Also, you can make desk sets from some of the recyclable food containers and jars and tin cans and decorate. I saw the tin cans were decorated with yarn wrapped around the can in a circle and just wrapped and wrapped and wrapped around, and that looked very nice. So you could make desk sets out of that, and the tuna cans make nice little containers for paper clips and rubber bands, and also the taller cans for pens and pencils, and coffee cans for rulers and scissors. So there's a lot of, and also the plastic coffee containers, the large plastic coffee containers, the rigid plastics, those can be used for cookies. If you hadn't thought about if you don't have a cookie jar, and a lot of this stuff can be used for college students because they aren't necessarily able to go out and buy everything. So they might use their jars for sugar or flour, or rice, or coffee. Like the container set and canister set. You could use small jars for that, or large jars for that, for your canister set, and so there's a lot that can be done without having to spend money that you can recycle your products from. Also, cloth napkins versus paper napkins, and you can cut up old clothing to make cloth napkins if you hadn't thought of that, and that'll save a tree here and there. If they're small, they're easy to throw in the laundry, and they make good coasters also. You can cut some of the fabrics out and make coasters, and that'll save a tree. Another thing that I did to show the kids some ideas, college-age kids, some ideas, was to use tablecloths and sheets and blankets, afghans, and things for curtains and window treatments, and using alligator clips, the little clips, pinchy clips that you use for office like paper clips, those can be used to pleat up the tablecloths as window treatments and to attach them to maybe the blinds if you have there. Some mini blinds up on the windows. So, and a lot of times those are nice colors, bright colors that the kids have, and also I think, things like the Spider-Man. If you don't necessarily, and again too, there's money crunches everyone's going through. So if you have some sheets that maybe your kid has their favorite Spider-Man sheets, you could maybe clip those up as a window treatment and do something that they're going to love, and it'll make their room special and more of a theme design there for them. Also, posters and calendar pictures for real-life aquarium backgrounds. If you hadn't thought of it, to use the calendars, the pictures in the calendars for your aquarium backgrounds or terrarium backgrounds, and also the National Geographic magazines have posters that you can use for the backgrounds on your aquariums, if you hadn't thought about that. And with regard to food, if you take your, I don't know if any communities restrict use of composts, but some of the things you can do with scraps might be to put it in a blender, liquefy it, excuse me, with water, and pour those scraps, liquefied scraps into the garden, as opposed to having a compost. That might work for you if you don't want a large compost area for food scraps. And also a lot of those food scraps can be used for your pets, like the hermit crabs, like a lot of the strawberries and apple cores and strawberry scraps and things, the fruit scraps, the hermit crabs like those. And eggshells can be powdered in the blender. You might want to do that with water and pour it into the garden, maybe around the rose bushes, because you can buy bone meal. And I'm not sure, you might talk to the garden center about the eggshells and whether or not that's a good idea. But it might be that you could use, if you hadn't thought about it before, eggshells for the garden versus the bone meal, and to recycle those if you weren't previously doing that. And also your orange peels, lemon peels, lime peels, you can save those and freeze those so that you have them for baking, and throw them in a blender. You can throw them in the blender when they're frozen, and it'll chop them up, or in the blender, even not frozen, and to use for cooking and baking. And so I hadn't thought of that one before. I think I ran out and bought a container of the freeze-dried orange peel zest to use for baking. So another idea, if you hadn't thought about it, because if you live in convenience all the time, you don't think about all the things you have that you can use. And sometimes, as I said, when money's not always money conditions aren't always the best and things get a little more difficult, some of these ideas come in handy for you. And also walking dogs, and that's probably where a lot of these ideas come up from, when you're in money crunches. But even not in money crunches, it's good for the environment. Recycled bags and food packaging can be washed, and if it's washed well, it can be reused for your doggy walks. And a lot of the recycled bags and food packaging, can be washed out and reused for food storage, depending on what kind of packaging it is, and depending on what you're using it for. Anyway, those are some of my ideas, and that's about it. And that was my home recycling ideas. Again, it's Thursday, July 2nd, 2015. And I'm still trying to figure out how to get a job and pay the bills, and I was going to school. So this is sort of an addition to my portfolio of work that might help someone as far as making videos and coming up with work ideas. And the image there is my photography, and the small pictures I found online through Google. I don't have the credits for all of the images there, but those were all Google images that I found online and used. And so anyway, thank you very much, and have a great day.